Welcome back to Cottage Designs by Erin, where today I'm going to finish out this little wall hanging of the teapot. I belong to our local quilters guild called the North City Quilt Guild, and we meet the first Thursday of every month. And so the ladies always show their projects, and you're not required to have something every time we meet, but it's nice when people do because then you have more to view. So I have already cut this out with my Warm and Natural batting. And let me show you that. I'm using Warm and Natural. This is a 45 by 60, so I'm just using a little fourth of that. But I swear by Warm and Natural batting because when my dad was alive, I had made him a flannel quilt that he absolutely loved. Well, he became bedridden and he used that quilt every day, day in, day out. My mom would wash it and put it back on him. Well, finally, all the flannel was threadbare, but the Warm and Natural batting came through to the top and it was still all intact. And as much as she washed that quilt, I was like, I got my money's worth out of it. The fact that the time, effort, energy I put into it, because it stayed together because the batting didn't fall apart. So you can buy this on Amazon in my online store. The link is in the description box. All right, so I have cut the batting the same size as the front. Let me move the camera to my hands now. Okay, so we have our project here. I've got lint all over me from the batting. And then you're going to, I cut the batting the same size, the backing rather, not batting. The backing and batting are cut the same size. And so I need to mark the bottom because that's the part where we will turn it. I'm not the world's best at putting binding on. So a lot of times I use this method, which is called the pillowcase method, instead of actually having to bind the quilt. Okay, and I'm going to go around and pin this in place, even though I have safety pins, connecting it to the batting. Okay, so now we are ready to sew it together. So we want to leave a hand's width room here at the bottom so that we can flip it and turn it once we sew all the way around. So we're going to sew from the bottom, which is here, all the way around it and flip it inside out. And that is called the pillowcase method. Okay, so now let me get my iron up here. I am incredibly sick. I went to the doctor yesterday and I actually have bronchitis, tonsillitis, and a sinus infection, which doesn't sound that bad, but then I woke up this morning and I felt even worse, so I don't really know what I have, but I feel terrible. Okay, so we're going to, I'm using black thread because the fabric is black. I'm going to put this in my machine where the pins start. Make sure we're on a straight stitch and that I didn't leave it on a dolly zigzag stitch. And you can use whatever seam allowance you want. If you like a 1/2 inch, I'm just going to use a standard 1/4 inch, but you can use whatever you like. I don't want to eat too much of my fabric design up, so that's why I'm using the smaller inseam. My ex-husband's grandma is the one that taught me this technique. And she would say, it's so cute, she'd say, we're going to use the pillowcase method. And she wasn't wrong. Like, this works as long as you're not making anything very big. I use this method for wall hangings, lap quilts sometimes, if it's not a very big lap quilt, and baby quilts. It works well on little projects, but you wouldn't want to use it on anything larger than that. Okay, now then, let's flip it over and make sure that we didn't miss anything. Nope, everything's in the seam allowance, so that's all good. Okay, now we're going to take our pins out. This is the same method you use to make a pillow also. Now I'm going to use my Guggenhein scissors and I'm going to cut the corners off so that we turn it inside out and poke the corners out. They'll be nice and neat. Things out of my way here. Okay, so here's our opening. We're going to flip it inside out and hope the magic happens. I still see the corner not poked all the way out. Okay, now let me take our big safety pins out. And then we're going to poke our seam allowance under at the bottom here, because that's what will later be sewn shut, but we want it to all line up. And I forgot to plug the iron in. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, let me turn this around. I'm going to iron it. And then I will just sew around this outside edge. On warm and natural batting, you can quilt it up to, I think it is 10 inches apart. So if you just do the outside edge of this or the inside of the block, it will stay intact. So I hope you learned something today. We learned how to finish our teapot wall hanging. And so I will be taking this to Quilt Guild, and then I'm going to proudly hang this in my kitchen. Please come back for more videos. Like and subscribe. Thank you.